You do it again. You're standing in the shower, the water running hot against your shoulders, or you're staring out the window on your morning commute, watching the world blur past. But you aren't really there. You've drifted. Suddenly, you're somewhere else entirely. You're winning an argument from 3 years ago, finally saying that perfect, cutting line you only thought of hours after the fight ended. You're rehearsing a difficult speech you'll likely never give, or you're living an entire alternative life with someone you barely know, someone you saw for 3 seconds in a coffee shop. When you finally snap back to the present, there's this strange, lingering feeling. It's half relief and half disappointment. For a few minutes, that fake scenario felt more vivid and more emotional than the actual life you're living. You might feel a sense of guilt, as if you've just wasted precious time, or a sense of loneliness because the you in your head is so much more powerful than the you sitting in traffic. But let me tell you something right now. You are not broken. You are not wasting your life in a world of fantasy because you're weak. What you're experiencing is one of the most complex functions of the human brain. You aren't just daydreaming, you are constructing entire immersive realities. Today, we're going to talk about why your brain does this, the biological machinery behind it, and the hidden reasons why your mind is trying to protect you in a world that often feels uncontrollable. Let's be honest. We all do this. But for many of us, it's not just a passing thought. It's a mental sanctuary. It's a place we go to escape, to process, and to survive. Psychologists call this counterfactual thinking or maladaptive daydreaming. But those are just clinical labels. What's really happening is a deep-seated human search for control. We live in a world that is messy, unpredictable, and often deeply unfair. You can't control how your boss treats you, you can't predict the outcome of a relationship, and you certainly can't rewind time to fix your past mistakes. But in your mind, in that private theater behind your eyes, you are the director. You are the lead actor. You are the writer. In your head, you finally get to be understood. You finally get to be seen. You finally get to win. But here is where things get complicated. Your brain is a bit too good at its job. It doesn't always distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. When you imagine someone you love betraying you or a stranger mocking you, your body doesn't know it's just a simulation. Your brain triggers the same fight or flight response. It releases real cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart rate actually climbs. Your muscles tense up. You end up feeling genuine anger or deep sadness for things that have never happened. We are, in effect, traumatizing ourselves with ghosts. We spend our best mental energy fighting battles in a shadow world, leaving us exhausted for the real world. Why would our evolution allow this? Why is your brain seemingly sabotaging your peace of mind? To understand this, we have to look at the machinery. Neurologically speaking, your brain is a prediction machine. Deep within your gray matter, there is a network called the default mode network, or DMN. This network stays active when you aren't focused on a specific task. It's the background noise of your consciousness. For many people, this network is hyperactive. Think of it like a flight simulator. Pilots spend hours in simulators so that when a real engine fails, they don't panic. They've already lived that disaster 1,000 times. Your brain is doing the same thing with your social life. It's constantly asking, what if I lose my job? What if they leave me? It is trying to build a blueprint for your survival. If you've spent your life feeling overlooked or powerless, these scenarios become the only place where you actually have agency. They are the only place where your voice finally carries weight. But there is a tipping point where the simulation starts becoming a trap. It happens when the simulator becomes more rewarding than the actual flight. This is the danger of the hero fantasy. You imagine the success and the validation so vividly that the real work starts to feel less urgent. Why work for months on a project when you can feel the dopamine hit of success in 30 seconds in your head? Why have a messy conversation with your partner when you can have the perfect version in your mind where they finally apologize? The tool meant to prepare you starts to replace your life. Suddenly, the gap between the person you are in your head and the person you are in the real world becomes a canyon. The wider that canyon gets, the more painful it is to look at your real life which drives you even deeper into the fake scenarios. It's a cycle that feeds on its own dissatisfaction. The biggest secret about your fake scenarios is this: they aren't actually a bow. The biggest secret about your fake scenarios is this: they aren't actually about the future. They are a precise map of your current emotional voids. If you constantly imagine yourself being rescued, it's a sign that you feel trapped in your current environment. If you constantly imagine being praised, you are starving for a type of validation you aren't getting from those around you. If you are constantly winning arguments, you likely have suppressed anger or a feeling that your boundaries are being stepped on. Your brain isn't trying to waste your time. It's screaming at you, telling you exactly what is missing from your life. But you cannot fill a real void with a fake scenario. It is like trying to eat a photograph of a meal because you are hungry. It might look delicious, but you will still starve. True growth only happens when you stop being the director of a movie and start being a participant in your own unscripted life. So, how do you break the loop? You don't need to fight your brain, you just need to manage the machine. First, you must externalize the loop. Your brain repeats these scenarios because it's afraid it will forget the lesson. When a scenario starts looping, write it down. Get a journal and put the argument or the fear onto paper. Once it's externalized, your brain feels it has filed the information, and the network can finally relax. Second, distinguish between preparation and protection. Every time you catch yourself drifting, ask, is this preparing me for an action I am actually going to take? Or is this protecting me from a feeling I don't want to face right now? If it's preparation, finish the thought and move to action. If it's protection, recognize it as a fantasy and gently pull yourself back to reality. Third, use grounding techniques to anchor yourself in the now. The moment you realize you've been gone for 10 minutes, engage your physical body. Name 3 things you can see right now, 2 things you can hear, and 1 thing you can touch. This shift in focus pulls the energy out of the imagination and back into the present moment. It reminds your brain that this breath, this body, and this room are the only things that are actually real. Your mind is like a river, and these fake scenarios are the current. Sometimes the current is gentle, and sometimes it's a wild rapid that threatens to pull you under. You can't stop the river from flowing. That's just what minds do. But you don't have to get swept away by it every time. You can choose to sit on the bank. You can watch the thoughts go by without jumping in. Acknowledge them, thank your brain for trying to protect you, and then stand up and walk your own path. Your real life is waiting for you. It is uncertain, it is unscripted, and yes, it is frequently uncomfortable. But it has one advantage that no fantasy can ever compete with. It is real. And in the end, being real is more than enough. What is the one scenario your brain won't stop playing lately? Drop it in the comments below. Sometimes just putting it into words breaks the spell. If this video helped you understand your mind a little better, hit that subscribe button. We're going to keep diving deep into the psychology of why we do what we do. I'll see you in the next one.